Yes, thank you. Please go to men.wikifeet.com/Jeff_holiday. Give me a good rating. I need to boost my my ego because I'm working on my foot game. Anyway, yeah, here's somebody I wouldn't mind stepping on. Let's do it.
You did ask a question, and I don't want to miss it when you said, why is it a good thing? So I want to say a few things. One, canceling, the initial concept of canceling was, an example, there was a NASCAR driver whose father in the 80s said the N-word. So he lost sponsors 40 years later. And like, that makes no sense. That's cancellation. Sarah Silverman did blackface a long time ago. It was considered edgy, but socially acceptable. 10 years later, she loses a movie role. That's canceling. If someone comes out today, like Dylan Mulvaney, and does something that is offensive to people and that results in a loss of sponsorships, that is not, in my view, what canceling has traditionally been.
So we're gonna move the goalposts. Okay, we're gonna move the goalposts on this one. All right. What Tim is describing, the NASCAR driver, Sarah Silverman, et cetera, canceling. Canceling is not something as simple as it is a law, a decree, a lever is pulled and they are then canceled. That's not how it works. If there is enough societal momentum where there is outrage by the consumer that they're aggrieved and do not want to buy products with said thing that they find disagreeable for whatever the reason it is, whether it is valid or not, whether Tim thinks it's valid or not, does not fucking matter. That is the market responding. That's it. Now, you can get angry at the propaganda that is utilized in order to push that sort of a thing. Sure, can have a conversation about that, but that requires a little bit deeper analysis than the fucking rain puddle that is Tim Pool's intellectual depth, okay? So, I'm sorry, it's so fucking dumb.
Like, if a person right now does bad thing, and we say, you did bad thing, so we don't want to associate with you, but that's how it's always been. No matter who you are, no matter... The idea of cancellation emerged in that we're digging up people's past histories to remove them. That's the difference.
Well, no. The word is now used for whoever wants to use the word for whatever purpose. It's the same thing as using woke. It means nothing. It means nothing. It's just buzzword.
To me, canceling isn't, yes, I mean, I do think there should be, as we say, consequences, right, for poor behavior. But to me...
Is that Miranda Sings? I don't know. I don't know what she fucking looks like.
It's not... I think also there's disproportionate effects from somebody saying something that doesn't warrant the effects that they're getting. So people, if somebody lobbies for someone losing their job over saying something, a little joke, or not even doing anything. Sometimes people make things up or start campaigns. There's all these people like on Twitter right now, for example, who start these threads trying to, have people lose their jobs or...
But I don't really see that from the right.
I see that.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up. Who the fuck is this? No, it's all over the fucking place. It's all over the place. And it happens. The thing is, this is such a much more like nuanced situation that just trying to broadly speak about it like this makes no sense. You got to narrow the parameters to exactly what you're talking about. Exactly what you're talking about. I could have a conversation with it right now. We could analyze the antics of some of the TikTok call-out people, to see if, like, is that one valid? Is that not valid? What are the broader philosophical, consequences of this? Like, we can talk about it, but talking about it like this is so fucking dumb. It's bizarre. I got a great one for you. There was a a chairman of, I want to say it was in either Utah or Nevada, of a Turning Point USA chapter, and he was on film, on cell phone footage with this girl. They were stoned as fuck, and they were saying white power and fuck N-words. We're gonna rule the world. We're gonna run the country. Before anybody could, cancel them for, telling jokes, Turning Point USA immediately fired him. So who canceled who? Who canceled who?
Up yours, woke moralists.
Yeah, Turning Point USA. How dare you be such a moralist and fire someone before we can even have a chance to complain about the leftists complaining about it. Like, what the fuck are you trying? You're taking away our toys, man.
From the right all the time.
It's definitely
true.
There's a sense of
disproportionate.
victimhood. Like this is the other thing that I see is like, and this is something that traditionally was really associated with the left, is the sense of like we're victims, and this is what I think happens a lot is like we're victims, and now when we get a little bit of power, we start using this excuse of victimhood to then go after people because we feel like we're entitled to it. And so what I'm seeing now.
That's a very strange straw man. Also, fix your fucking lipstick. It's terrible. That's got to be like, and I've heard this a lot of times too, and I don't think it's impossible for that to be the case, but I think that's a very specific thing that they're trying to like make a case out of. I don't really see it. Now
is those very same people who felt like they were victimized, which frankly in some ways they were, because there was this institutional power that was used against them, right?
Sure.
And at this point I think conservatives have had things like they were silenced, they were deplatformed, all these things did happen to them, they've lost jobs. So I do want to acknowledge that that is true. But a lot of them feel extremely victimized, and now they feel like there's the excuse because they were victimized to go after other people, and there's this rage that's building. And I feel
what's kind of interesting is if we walk this back 4 years, she could probably make that argument on the flip side as well. So I'm actually going to give her a little bit of credit on this one, because I do think that this is a thing that does occur. I don't think, much like with anything that's said on these political talks, that this is really as common as they try and make it out to be. It's probably exacerbated way beyond. Generally, culture tends to be a lot more organic and kind of free-flowing with how they have their outrage, Also, it's largely due to media apparatus, et cetera, et cetera. It's very complicated. But I'll give her some credit on that one.
Feel it's very dangerous.
So to go back to what I was mentioning before, I said it was good. You said why, and so now I'll get to that. People have moral frameworks, and traditionally in the United States, the moral framework has been based on Judeo-Christian values. Very much.
Yeah, and look where that got us.
This country has been Christian for a very, very long time. People eventually started moving away from organized religion to varying degrees. We're seeing a rise in secularism. However, even with that, many people in this country who describe themselves as secular or liberal, especially staunch atheists, actually still have Judeo-Christian moral frameworks, such as Bill Maher being the best example.
Bill Maher is the best example of how the lowest common denominator can sometimes achieve immense success, okay? Okay, there is an argument there too. Again, it's a lot more complicated than Tim's going to even be able to comprehend. That sure, because Judeo-Christian moral values sort of help to craft the overall societal moral values. Yeah, sure, I guess to a certain extent, but that's also taking away the power of how these things have organically evolved just through the ages, just because like at one point that was a huge influence, it doesn't really mean like you get to just kind of lump it in with it anymore, because that's not how it works.
Bill Maher believes in free speech. Bill Maher believes in the right of the innocent until proven guilty. These things are actually rooted in the Bible. The simplest example, without going into Bible study, and I am not a Christian, by the way, is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay. Free speech in the Bible, that's fascinating. No. No. Okay. Oh God, this is some shit. He's gonna talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. This is gonna be good.
By the way, is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. If there's but one righteous man, I will not destroy these cities. And it was God talking to Abraham. Lot is in the city. Blah blah blah.
It's Abraham's a beanie.
It's a beanie. KBS 666. Thank you very much.
Like there's good people there. You can't do this. This is what informed Blackstone when he made his formulation. It is better that 10 guilty persons escape than one innocent person suffer. Ben Franklin went up that to better than 100 guilty persons escape. So those are actually rooted in the teachings of the Bible. You will.
Sure. But then again, Didn't God cancel Sodom and Gomorrah? Didn't he cancel Sodom? What did he do to Sodom and Gomorrah? Does anybody remember what he did? What did he do with that again? Fuck. I've forgotten. Weird. So strange.
We'll end up now with secularists who hold those values, not realizing where it comes from.
Who gives a fuck where it comes from? It's a good idea. Well, you can't. Well, I'm an atheist, and that means like anything that possibly was tertiarily associated with a two millennia old book that's been retranslated over and over again, that was written by men but claimed to be written by God, has a similar moral equivalency. So I should just no longer have that because I'm an atheist. What are you even arguing, you stupid fuck?
The reason why I think it's a good thing is that the modern left, what we describe as woke, has no moral framework. Their moral framework can be described as postmodernist or fascistic. Fascistic in the sense that they believe there is no truth but power, which is a core ethos of many of the, like, what I would describe as like higher level thinkers among what we would describe as woke.
What? So what? What? There are no higher moral. Okay, hang on. I don't want to misquote him.
In the sense that they believe there is no truth but power, which
okay, so there's no truth but power. Nobody believes that. That power can change the perception away from an objective truth, or that power has the ability to determine what truth is going to be, or what truth will be accepted. I mean, that's just true. That's true. And Tim has talked about things like that before. He believes that as well.
The core ethos of many of the, like, what I would describe as like higher level thinkers among what we would describe as woke. They believe that there's...
And how is that fascistic?
No, there is no truth but power is the simplest way to explain their moral framework, which is described academically, say, by the late David Graeber, the anarchist anthropologist who despised being called that was a fascistic moral philosophy. That is not something held by the modern, what we would describe as culture war right, who holds more a classical liberal and Judeo-Christian moral frameworks. What ends up happening is...
Wait, so how is that an opposite anyway? Because Judeo-Christian frameworks aren't necessarily rooted in truth. It's rooted in values. Like, there's nothing truth about it. And also, what in the fuck is there is no truth but power? When people on the left that say that sort of thing, say it as a condemnation of society, not that they like that. Oh my fucking God. Like, that's something that they don't like. And how in the world is this even fucking fascistic? This motherfucker doesn't even know what fascism is. Holy shit.
As you get to these positions where classical conservatives are very classically liberal in a certain sense. They're
those are the same word. Classical liberalism is conservatism. That's what it fucking means.
Libertarian in a certain sense. Not all of them. Some of them are actually very authoritarian. But you end up with them saying...
yeah, a lot of them. And libertarianism as a core philosophical ethos is actually more left than it is right. But that's for a different discussion.
The longest time, live and let live, we accept that. We disagree with what they do, but they're not doing anything about it. I'll give you an example.
Yeah, they don't do that, though. They don't do that. Now, those who are conservative in power are trying to restrict people's ability to do what they want to do. That's it. Like, there's no left-wing people that are making laws preventing conservatives from acting and behaving the way they want to do. There's just society being like, stop being a fucking dick. Or we won't buy the products that you're going to have anything to do with. Like, this is so dumb.
West Virginia, I've been ranting about Berkeley County. 86%, the state, it's 86% Trump supporting the state. Berkeley County had a drag show in public with children. That's illegal in West Virginia, unquestionably. In fact, it's illegal to cohabitate if you're not married in West Virginia. Not that I think they should enforce that law. The point is, even though this state is the second most Trump-supporting conservative state, they do nothing about the things they think are morally wrong or violate their moral framework. This is because they are complacent and, to a great degree, classically liberal in that, you know, we're going to let you do your thing. We're going to mind our own business. That has led to a rise in a second country within a country that we've described as a multicultural democracy emerging within a constitutional republic. What happens? The more the multicultural democracy faction, what we would describe as woke, gain political power and use untoward tactics like cancellation, false victimhood, manipulations, lying in the press, etc., the more ground they take from the civil libertarians who reach the point of the pendulum swing, grab the pendulum with full force and say, I now understand we are involved in a cold civil war, as described by a Princeton professor, not my words, or we're in a culture war. And you know what? When it comes to war, it's conflict and everyone tries to avoid it. But at a certain point, when someone's smashing through your borders, you decide you have to do something to push back.
Okay, this is really funny. This is really, 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 really funny. Yep, Civil War. Yep, he started saying Civil War.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsie, Timmy.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsie. All right, so Tim here just described the white man's burden. I mean, conservative man's burden. So in West Virginia, his main complaint is that the people on the right, more libertarian-minded people, are like, well, I just want to live and let live. People want to do this, people want to do that. It's okay, whatever. And then suddenly, because they're no longer actively trying to oppress people from living the way they want to live, they're seeing that those people are wanting to live the way they want to live, and then they get scared. Oh, no. Uh-oh. I mean, like, what do you fucking expect? When you stop actively trying to suppress people and let them live their lives, you might find that they do things that you don't like them to do. And this idea that cancellation, these dirty tactics, are somehow the biggest threat to America and not like overt actual government oppression and acts of authoritarianism through legislation, shit like Florida, shit like Texas, is insane to me. Is really goddamn insane. And so this is, hey, all of you out there who thought you were just letting people live their lives and now suddenly you're being somewhat inconvenienced or now you're just really scared. Maybe you should wake up to the fact that you're in a civil war. This is agitation. This is absolutely like seditious agitation. It is. The only reason why he gets away with it is because he cloaks it in so much dog shit that, you know, it's plausible deniability. And also, he's allowed to say whatever he wants, but we shouldn't beat around the bush. That's what he jacks off to, is the idea of a civil war.
Abraham Lincoln famously suspended habeas corpus. People called him a tyrant for it. We look back fondly on Abraham Lincoln for all that he did. Conservatives now looking at this are saying, we must use culture war tactics lest these people actually destroy our culture. Right. That's why I think it's a good thing.
Destroy your culture. What kind of culture are they destroying?
That people are starting to say, hey, look, there's opportunity here. Yeah. We can win and we're going to win.
Yeah, and maybe I guess I am more of an idealist in that way, but I just don't believe in abandoning certain principles in order to win a war. Because in that case, I'm like, what's the point of being on the winning side if you're going to be exactly the same as the side that you're fighting against?
Right. No. See, no. Now, she almost had a good point, and then she had to bring it into just that little shit there, you know? Yeah, true. You should probably not abandon your principles. You should probably hold true to your values. That's pretty great. Unlike those other people. Fuck off.
Right, so do you think Abraham Lincoln was wrong to suspend habeas corpus?
I don't know.
Do you think Abraham Lincoln was wrong to rule by edict when he started issuing decrees?
Because you're looking back at the winnings and you're saying, okay, this was a better outcome.
I mean, suspending habeas corpus violates the entire spirit of this country.
Yeah. Oh, so maybe we shouldn't have fought the Civil War, Tim? Is that what you is that what you're saying?
Whoopsie.
Oh. Uh-oh. Whoopsie doopsie, oopsie poopsie. Should have just let it be.
Yeah. The spirit of the nation, the rights granted by the founding fathers. Abraham Lincoln outright, he tried, I don't know if this is apocryphal, but if you read history, there's a debate over it, tried to arrest a Supreme Court justice for disagreeing with him. Members of the Maryland legislature were arrested for having Confederate sentiments, despite the fact that Maryland, a slave state, was with the Union. You can't defend those tactics, but we understand in war we did not want the Confederacy to win.
Yeah, we're not in a war, Tim. We're not in a war. No matter how much you furiously pump your second bald head to completion at the idea of fending off the hordes of blue-haired Antifa trying to storm your skateboard compound, you fucking nerd.
I understand. And it's sort of what you were also talking about earlier when you were saying, do you let 10 innocent men, go to get, or guilty men go to get the guilty one, right? And my thinking on that has actually changed a bit, especially when you're like looking at, say, the Me Too era. And there was a time where I might have thought a little bit differently about that, but I've also heard stories.
Which way? Agreeing with the formulation or disagreeing with the
well, I think it's better to let the guilty men go, to be honest, because I want to protect the innocent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And because I've known some people who were innocent who got caught. And it's a tough.
That's a really strange one, Like, I'm cool with 10 women getting forcibly, so long as we don't punish this one guy who did not. If you phrase it with the language that you're actually using, it doesn't sound so cool, does it? Maybe it's not quite so cut and dry, and using these types of analogies is kind of fucking stupid and really shouldn't be more broadly attributed to real life things. It's more of just like a saying, like a saying.
It's a tough one.
It's not. I think it's the easiest thing ever. But wokeness takes the opposing view that it is better that 10 innocent people suffer than one guilty person escape.
Which is why I don't agree with it.
KBS, do you have that video? If you have that video, I need you to send it to me on Discord right away.
On either side. And so when I see it happening on both ends, I oppose to it regardless. Because to me, again, I see it as a behavior as opposed to just an ideology.
I don't see the right as going after innocent people.
No, and it's so much more than that. I mean, we're talking about boycotts and how boycotts are woke, but the left has weaponized wokeness and put wokeness into our Department of Justice, they have judicial activists sitting on our courts right now. It's so much more than just, I don't like this idea being pushed on me. I don't like trans people. I don't like this. There's people in jail right now, sitting in jail, having their civil rights violated for just being present on January 6th.
What does that have to do with what?
No, and it's so much more than that. I mean, we're talking about boycotts and how boycotts are woke, but the left has weaponized wokeness and put wokeness into our Department of Justice, they have judicial activists sitting on our courts right now. It's so much more than just, I don't like this idea being pushed on me. I don't like trans people. I don't like this.
Oh, so it's a giant. Oh, okay. They. It's a big conspiracy. They. Gotcha. Yeah.
There's people in jail right now, sitting in jail, having their civil rights violated for just being present on January 6th.
Yeah, and that one.
Yeah. To answer your question, I do love trans people. I do.
Is a bit of a hard one for me to talk about.
What principles do you have at that point? What principle? I mean, what is fair in war when you have the FBI colluding with big tech, colluding with Twitter to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story? They worked with big tech.
Oh my God, what a dumb motherfucker. Shut up. Jesus Christ. Anyway, here's this.
I'm gonna steal his hat. It's a moment of truth.
Are the arbiters of what is definition of the word bigot. And you!
All right. Look at that. Bro, you come near me ever again, you won't have any teeth. You understand that?
Ooh.
I understand. Don't fucking touch me. Do you realize?
No one cared who I was till I put on
beanie.
Yeah. You know what? You know what notes I have to that whole segment that we just watched? None. Just a bunch of dumb shit. Bunch of dumb lying shit. Bunch of hollow-headed, vapid fucking imbeciles wasting precious data and oxygen when otherwise we could make space for more houseplants, and they would objectively do more for society if we just got rid of all three of these people, replace them with the houseplants that consume the same amount of oxygen, or produce. Actually, they produce more oxygen. Way, way better. Way, way better. Absolutely. Take up the same amount of space, and we would have more brain cells because they would not be actively dissolving them in society. That would be fantastic. Can we do that? Yes, please. Yes, please.